For decades, the British royal family has been portrayed in the public eye as an emblem of tradition, elegance, and grace. However, behind the gilded facade of the monarchy, a series of hidden secrets and scandals have lurked, threatening to unravel everything. Among these secrets, none is more explosive than the revelation of Laura Lopes, a hidden royal sister whose presence could have toppled the monarchy had it been exposed sooner. In this dramatic tale, a love triangle emerged that seemed destined to destroy the very fabric of the House of Windsor. Laura Lopes, the daughter of Camilla Parker Bowles, now Queen Consort of King Charles III, and her first husband, Andrew Parker Bowles, was long kept out of the public spotlight. Despite her royal connection through her mother, who had once been the long-term mistress of Charles, Prince of Wales, Laura's presence was rarely discussed, and her identity was often overshadowed by the controversies surrounding her parents. But what made Laura Lopes' story even more compelling was not only her royal bloodline, but the dark secret she carried with her, the love triangle that, if revealed, would have cast a long shadow over the royal family, the intrigue. Behind the royal family's secretive nature, to understand the gravity of Laura Lopes' hidden status, it is essential to explore the nature of the royal family's privacy and their need to control their image. The monarchy, a centuries-old institution, has been careful in curating its public persona. Every member of the royal family, from the Queen to the youngest royal, is subject to intense scrutiny, and any deviation from the prescribed norms can result in scandal. The British royal family, especially after World War I and the abdication crisis of King Edward VIII, became acutely aware of the need to maintain a dignified image that reflects stability and tradition. With the advent of mass media and the relentless press coverage, every royal decision, appearance, and relationship is placed under a magnifying glass. When it came to Camilla Parker Bowles and her children, the royal family was extremely cautious. Camilla's long-standing relationship with Prince Charles, which began while he was still married to Princess Diana, was controversial enough. The public's awareness of her role in the downfall of Charles and Diana's marriage meant that the spotlight remained on her for years, even after she married Charles. As a result, the decision to keep Laura Lopes out of the public eye was one made with strategic care, as her potential inclusion in royal events could only add fuel to the fire of the monarchy's already contentious reputation. The winds of change in the royal family, the Windsor legacy. The House of Windsor, which traces its origins to 1917, has undergone tremendous transformations in the last century. The monarchy's trajectory was irrevocably altered by key moments in history, some celebrated, some scandalous. When King George V changed the family name from Saxe-Coburg-Gotha to Windsor during World War I, it was to distance the royal family from their German roots at a time when anti-German sentiment was at an all-time high. This was a pivotal moment in royal history, as it marked the beginning of a new era of modernity, with the Windsors now at the helm of British royalty. Following the death of his brother Prince Albert Victor in 1910, George V unexpectedly ascended the throne, altering the course of history for the House of Windsor. His reign, which lasted until his death in 1936, was marked by a period of monumental change, including the downfall of his son, Edward VIII, whose abdication sent shockwaves throughout the empire. Edward's decision to marry Wallis Simpson, a twice-divorced American woman, led to his abdication, and his younger brother, George VI, became king. King George VI's reign ushered in an era of global change. He was not only the last emperor of India, but also the first head of the Commonwealth, a position that significantly altered the landscape of the British monarchy and its relationship with former colonies. George VI's daughters, Princess Margaret and Queen Elizabeth II, inherited the legacy of the Windsors, each carving their own distinctive paths in royal history. Queen Elizabeth II, who ascended the throne in 1952 after her father's death, became the longest reigning monarch in British history, presiding over decades of social, political, and technological changes. However, despite the monarchy's long-standing role as the symbol of British tradition, the Windsors faced an increasing public demand for transparency and accessibility, especially in the wake of Princess Diana's marriage to Prince Charles. Diana Spencer, from ordinary girl to global icon. Diana Frances. Spencer's entrance into the royal family forever changed the dynamics of the monarchy. Born on July 1, 1961, in Norfolk, England, Diana was the daughter of John Spencer, Viscount Althorp, and Frances Spencer, Viscountess Althorp. Her early life was steeped in privilege, with her family enjoying close connections to the royal family. They even leased Park House on the Sandringham estate, where Diana formed a close bond with Queen Elizabeth II, whom she affectionately called Aunt Lilibet. However, Diana's early life was also marked by turmoil. Her parents' marriage crumbled when her mother left for a relationship with a married businessman. This upheaval caused Diana to be shuttled between several boarding schools in Europe, struggling with the instability in her personal life. At age 16, she returned to England and took a job as an au pair for an American family. It was during this time that Diana first met Prince Charles, who was dating her older sister, Sarah. This meeting would mark the beginning of a story that would capture the world's attention. In 1978, after spending more time together, Charles and Diana's relationship deepened. Their connection blossomed when Diana joined Charles for a sailing weekend on the royal yacht Britannia, and soon after, she was invited to meet the royal family at Balmoral Castle. Diana's charm, grace, and ability to connect with people left a strong impression on the Queen and Prince Philip. As their relationship progressed, the media went into a frenzy, and Diana became the subject of intense public interest. Her every move was scrutinized, and she was swiftly transformed from an ordinary girl into a global icon. By 1981, Diana's engagement to Prince Charles was confirmed, and the royal wedding in July of that year was a spectacle of unprecedented proportions. The event captivated millions around the world and was watched by an estimated 750 million people. However, behind the fairy tale ceremony, tensions were already mounting. Diana discovered Charles's emotional attachment to his former lover, Camilla Parker Bowles, which cast a shadow over their marriage from the very beginning. The royal love triangle: Charles, Diana, and Camilla. The affair between Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles was a well-known open secret. For Diana, the constant reminders of Camilla's presence in Charles's life were emotionally devastating. The most poignant reminder was the bracelet Charles kept with the initials G and F, referencing Camilla's nickname, Girl Friday. Diana struggled with bulimia and the emotional toll of knowing her husband's continued affection for Camilla. As their marriage unraveled, Diana turned to her own sources of comfort. In the mid-1980s, Diana began an affair with James Hewitt, a former riding instructor. Rumors circulated that Hewitt might be Harry's biological father, though he has consistently denied these claims. Nonetheless, the affair further strained Diana's relationship with Charles and intensified the media's focus on the couple's troubled marriage. In 1992, the world was stunned by the revelation of the royal couple's struggles, including Diana's own admission of infidelity. The couple's separation was announced, and the world watched as their relationship deteriorated. Diana continued her philanthropic work, particularly her groundbreaking advocacy for AIDS patients, while Charles and Camilla's relationship became more public. Despite their personal difficulties, Diana remained a beloved figure, with her charity work and compassion earning her the title the People's Princess. The royal love triangle, Charles, Diana, and Camilla. The marriage of Prince Charles and Princess Diana, once heralded as a fairy tale union, quickly descended into a public and painful spectacle. Behind the grandiose royal appearances and the carefully curated image of a happy family, a dark secret simmered beneath the surface, an affair that would rock the British monarchy to its core. At the heart of this royal scandal was Camilla Parker Bowles, a woman whose presence in Charles's life had long been a source of controversy. Diana's confrontation with Camilla. By 1989, Diana's suspicions about her husband's infidelity had become undeniable. In an emotionally charged confrontation at a birthday party, Diana took the bold step of addressing Camilla directly. "I obviously am in the way, and it must be hell for both of you," Diana remarked. "But I do know what is going on. Don't treat me like an idiot." This raw moment marked a turning point in Diana's relationship with Charles, exposing the fractures in their marriage and highlighting the lack of respect Diana felt not only from Charles, but from the royal family as a whole. The years leading up to this moment were fraught with personal turmoil for Diana. She struggled with bulimia, depression, and a deep sense of isolation, all while being thrust into the intense spotlight that came with marrying the heir to the throne. Charles, on the other hand, seemed increasingly consumed by his relationship with Camilla. Despite this, the royal family expected Diana to maintain the facade of a perfect royal marriage. The constant public scrutiny and her husband's disregard for her emotional well-being pushed Diana to her breaking point. The leaked tapes and public revelations. The tension reached a boiling point in 1992 when a series of intimate phone conversations between Charles and Camilla were leaked to the media. These tapes, later known as the Camillagate tapes, exposed the depth of their affair. Charles's casual declarations of affection toward Camilla, who was not just his lover but his confidant and emotional anchor, deeply scandalized the British public, who had once viewed Charles and Diana as the epitome of royal propriety. In that same year, author Andrew Morton released a bombshell book titled Diana, her true story, which provided an intimate behind-the-scenes look into Diana's troubled marriage. Diana's voice, captured in the book's revelations, was one of raw vulnerability. She spoke about her feelings of betrayal and inadequacy, confessing how she had been reduced to a mere shadow of her former self in a marriage overshadowed by infidelity. In the public eye, questions began to surface. Could Charles, who was caught up in such a scandal, remain fit to one day assume the throne? Would his relationship with Camilla, if it became public, damage the monarchy's reputation? These questions mirrored the historical crisis the royal family had faced decades earlier, when King Edward VIII's abdication in 1936 had threatened to destabilize the institution over his relationship with Wallis Simpson, a twice-divorced American woman. Now, Charles's affair threatened to destabilize not just his marriage, but the monarchy itself. The separation and the documentary fiasco. In late 1992, Prime Minister John Major publicly announced that Charles and Diana had separated. The announcement of their separation was a momentous event, not just because it signaled the end of their marriage, but because it represented a larger shift in the royal family's image. The monarchy, which had long been a symbol of stability and tradition, was now being scrutinized under the microscope of public opinion. The notion of a royal divorce was once unthinkable, but now it had become a reality. Charles, in an attempt to manage his image, agreed to be filmed for a documentary. In this documentary, Charles was asked whether he had been faithful to Diana, and his response, "Yes, yes," until it became irretrievably broken down, further deepened the public's perception of his disloyalty. The documentary revealed not just the fragility of Charles's marriage, but his ongoing emotional attachment to Camilla, whom he described as a friend who would remain in his life for the foreseeable future. Diana's landmark interview with Martin Bashir. In 1995, Diana took control of the narrative with her landmark interview with Martin Bashir. The interview, aired by the BBC, became one of the most iconic moments in modern royal history. Diana was asked directly about Camilla's role in her marriage, and she responded with chilling honesty. "Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This statement, blunt and unapologetic, was a moment of clarity for the public. Diana had been living a lie for years, trapped in a marriage that was never truly her own. The revelation was both an indictment of Charles and Camilla's actions and a cathartic release for Diana, who had long been silenced by royal protocol. The interview not only highlighted the unraveling of Diana's marriage, but also marked the beginning of her transformation into a global icon. Following the interview, Diana became even more deeply involved in charitable work, particularly causes related to AIDS and landmine removal. Her compassion and dedication to making the world a better place were in stark contrast to the royal family's more reserved approach to charity. Diana's philanthropic efforts, however, would not be enough to save her marriage. The tragic death of Diana. On August 31st, 1997, Diana's life was tragically cut short in a car crash in Paris. The news of her death sent shockwaves across the globe, leaving the world in mourning. Diana had been a beloved figure, admired not just for her beauty and grace, but for her ability to connect with people on a personal level. She had been the people's princess, the embodiment of warmth, empathy, and resilience, and her death marked the end of an era for the British royal family. The circumstances surrounding her death, including the role of the paparazzi in pursuing her car, sparked a wave of conspiracy theories and speculation. The royal family, already struggling with public perception due to Diana's troubled marriage to Charles, found themselves facing an unprecedented crisis. The public's grief was immense, and many blamed the monarchy for their failure to protect Diana during her marriage and after her divorce. Camilla's path to redemption. In the years following Diana's death, Camilla Parker Bowles was widely vilified. The media painted her as the villain in the royal drama, the woman who had broken up Charles and Diana's marriage. Camilla faced intense public scrutiny, and her relationship with Charles was largely kept out of the public eye to avoid further backlash. During this period, the royal family made concerted efforts to reassure the public that taxpayer money would not be used to furnish Camilla's private spaces in Clarence House, the residence she shared with Charles. Despite the media's relentless vilification, Camilla remained a steady presence in Charles's life. By the early 2000s, the couple was seen together more frequently at public events, signaling a shift in public opinion. In 2004, Camilla and Charles made their first official public appearance as a couple, and by 2005, they announced their engagement. Despite the lingering negativity surrounding Camilla, the couple wed in a quiet civil ceremony, with Camilla receiving the title of Duchess of Cornwall, a compromise that avoided the contentious title of Princess of Wales. The Queen's endorsement and Camilla's rise. Although Queen Elizabeth did not attend the wedding, she later hosted a reception for the couple at Windsor Castle, signaling a shift in her stance toward Camilla. Over time, the British public's perception of Camilla began to soften, especially as she demonstrated her commitment to royal duties and charitable work. In 2022, following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, Charles ascended to the throne as King Charles III, and Camilla was officially named Queen Consort. This moment marked the culmination of a long and complicated journey for Camilla, who had once been considered the most hated woman in Britain. Queen Elizabeth had previously expressed her desire for Camilla to be recognized as Queen Consort, acknowledging her loyal service to the royal family and her role in supporting Charles throughout their marriage. Camilla's acceptance into royal life was a gradual process, but by the time of the Queen's passing, she had earned a certain level of respect, particularly within the institution of the monarchy. The hidden sister, Laura Parker Bowles. As Camilla ascended to the role of Queen Consort, a new chapter in her life unfolded, one that included the revelation of her hidden daughter, Laura Parker Bowles. Laura's existence had long been a closely guarded secret, largely due to the complicated history of her mother's relationship with Charles and the fallout from their affair. Laura's story was one of personal challenges, with her strained relationship with her royal half-brothers, Prince William and Prince Harry, drawing media attention. According to the 2010 book Harry and William, Laura and William had a particularly tense relationship, often clashing over their parents' respective roles in their lives. Laura has largely stayed out of the public eye, preferring a life of privacy and obscurity. She works as an art curator and, in 2006, married Laura Lopes, a former model and accountant. The couple has kept a relatively low profile, raising their children away from the glare of the media spotlight. However, in recent years, Laura has made occasional appearances at art events and public functions, although she remains largely detached from the royal spotlight. Camilla's legacy. As the story of the British royal family continues to unfold, Camilla's journey from the shadows of scandal to the position of Queen Consort represents a remarkable evolution. From the heartbreak and public disdain that marked her early years as Charles's lover, Camilla has managed to navigate the treacherous waters of royal life with resilience and determination. Her relationship with Charles, once seen as a source of shame, has now become an integral part of the monarchy's future. Despite the challenges and controversies, Camilla's role in the royal family has solidified, and her story continues to be one of complex emotions, hidden relationships, and a legacy that, while not without its controversies, is undeniably intertwined with the history of the British monarchy.